Hello friends, in this video we will see about the good laboratory practices in molecular biology laboratory, or we can call it a do's and don'ts for the molecular testing. Molecular detection methods have the ability to produce a large volume of nucleic acid through the amplification of trace quantities found in samples. While this is beneficial for enabling sensitive detection, it also induces the possibility of contamination through the spreading of amplicon in the laboratory environment. When conducting experiments, measures can be undertaken to avoid the contamination of reagents, laboratory equipment, and bench space, as such contamination may generate false positive or false negative results. To help reduce the likelihood of contamination, good laboratory practices should be exercised at all times. Specifically, precautions should be taken regarding handling of reagents, organization of workspace and equipment, use and cleaning advices for the designated molecular space, general molecular biology advice, and internal controls. So first of all, we will start with the handling of reagent. Briefly centrifuge all the reagent tubes before opening the tubes to avoid the generation of aerosol. Aliquot reagent to avoid multiple freeze thaws and the contamination of master stocks. Label and date all the reagent tubes, reaction tubes clearly, and maintain logs of reagent lot and batch numbers used in all experiments. Pipette all reagents and samples using filter tips. Prior to purchase, it is advisable to confirm with the manufacturer that the filter tips fit the brand of pipette to be used. Organization of workspace and equipment. Workspace should be organized to ensure that the flow of work occurs in one direction, from clean areas, that is pre-PCR, to dirty areas, that is post-PCR. We will see the precautions which will help to reduce the chance of contamination. We should have a separate designated rooms or at minimum physically separate areas for master mix preparation, nucleic acid extraction, and DNA template addition, amplification and handling of amplified product, and product analysis, for example gel electrophoresis. In some settings, having 4 separate rooms is difficult. In such type of cases, the master mix preparation can be performed in the containment area, example with the help of laminar flow cabinet. In case of nested PCR amplification, the preparation of the master mix for the second round reaction should be prepared in the clean area for master mix preparation, but the inoculation with the primary PCR product should be done in the amplification room and if possible in a dedicated containment area, again a laminar flow cabinet. Each room area needs a separate set of clearly labeled pipettes, filter tips, tubes, racks, vortexes, centrifuge wherever required, pens, generic lab reagents, lab coats, and boxes of gloves that will remain at their respective workstations. Hands must be washed and gloves and lab coats changed when moving between the designated areas. Reagents and equipment should not be moved from dirty area to clean area. An extreme case arises where a reagent or a place of equipment need to be moved backward. It must be first decontaminated with 10% hypochlorite followed by a wipe down the sterile bottle. Here, please remember that the 10% sodium hypochlorite solution must be a fresh daily, and when used for decontamination, a minimum contact time of 10 minutes should be adhered. Alternatively, commercially available products that are validated as DNA destroying surface decontaminants can be used. If local safety recommendations do not allow the use of sodium hypochlorite or sodium hypochlorite is not suitable decontaminant, then the metallic parts of the equipment. Ideally, staff should abide by the unidirectional flow and not go from dirty areas back to clean areas on the same day. However, there may be occasions when this is unavoidable. When such situation arises, personnel must take care to thoroughly wash hands, change gloves, use the designated lab coat, and not introduce any equipment they will want to take out of the room again, such as lab books. Such controls measures should be emphasized in staff training on molecular methods. After use, bench spaces should be cleaned with 10% sodium hypochlorite, followed by sterile water to remove residual bleach, 70% ethanol, or a validated commercially available DNA destroying decontaminant. Ideally, ultraviolet lamps should be filtered to enable decontamination by irradiation. However, the use of UV lamps should be restricted to closed working areas such as safety cabinets in order to limit the laboratory staff's UV exposure. Please abide by the manufacturer's instruction for UV lamp care, ventilation and cleaning in order to ensure that lamp remain effective. Please remember, while using 70% ethanol instead of sodium hypochlorite, irradiation with UV light will be needed to complete the decontamination process. Do not clean the vortex and centrifuge with sodium hypochlorite. Instead, wipe down with 70% ethanol and expose to UV light, or use a commercially available DNA destroying contaminant. For spills, check the manufacturers for cleaning advices. If manufacturer's instructions permit it, pipette should be routinely sterilized by autoclave. If pipette cannot be autoclaved, it should suffice to clean them with 10% hypochlorite followed by a thorough wipe down with sterile water or with a commercially available DNA destroying decontaminant followed by UV exposure. Again here, cleaning with high percentage sodium hypochlorite may eventually damage pipette plastics and metals if done on a regular basis. Check the recommendations from the manufacturer first. All the equipment needs to be calibrated regularly according to the manufacturer recommended schedule. A designated person should be in charge of ensuring that the calibration schedule is adhered to. Detailed logs are maintained and service labels are clearly displayed on the equipment. Now we will see the cleaning advices for the designated molecular space. So first of all, starting with the pre-PCR, reagent aliquoting and master mix preparation. This should be the cleanest of all spaces used for preparation of molecular experiment and should ideally be designated laminar flow cabinet with a UV light. Samples, extracted nucleic acids and amplified PCR product must not be handled in this area. Amplification reagent should be kept in a freezer or refrigerator as per manufacturer's recommendation in the same designated space, ideally next to the laminar flow cabinet or pre-PCR areas. Gloves should be changed each time entering the pre-PCR area or laminar flow cabinet. The pre-PCR area or laminar flow cabinet should be cleaned before and after use. This can be done by wiping down all items in the cabinet, example pipettes, tips, boxes, vortex, centrifuge, tube rags, pens, etc. with 70% ethanol or a commercially available DNA destroying decontaminant and allow them to dry. In the case of closed working areas, for example laminar flow cabinet, expose the hood to UV light for 30 minutes. Points to be remembered here are: do not expose reagents to UV light. Only move them into the cabinet once it is clean. If performing reverse transcription PCR, it may also be helpful to wipe down surfaces and equipment with a solution that breaks down RNAs on contact. This may help to avoid false negative results from enzyme degradation of RNA. After decontamination and before preparing the master mix, gloves should be changed once more and then the cabinet is ready for use. Now we will see the pre-PCR nucleic acid extraction and template addition. Nucleic acid must be extracted and handled in a second designated area using a separate set of pipettes, filter tips, tube racks, fresh gloves, lab coats and other equipment. This area is also for the addition of template, controls, trendy lines to end to the master mix tubes or plates. To avoid contamination of the extracted nucleic acid samples that are being analyzed, it is recommended to change gloves prior to handling positive controls or standards and to use a separate set of pipettes. PCR reagents amplified product must not be pipetted in this area. Samples should be stored in a designated fridges or freezers in the same area. Sample workspace should be cleaned in the same way as the master mix space. Now the third one, post PCR, that is amplification and handling of the amplified product. This designated space is for post amplification processes and should be physically separate from the pre-PCR area. It usually contains thermocyclers and real-time platforms and ideally should have a laminar flow cabinet for adding the round 1 PCR product to the rounds 2 reaction if nested PCR is being performed. PCR reagents and extracted nucleic acid must not be handled in this area since the risk of contamination is high. This area should have a separate set of gloves, lab coats, plates, tube racks, pipettes, filter tips, beans, and other equipments. Tubes must be centrifuged before opening. The sample workspace should be clean in the same way as the master mix space. Now the fourth area or post PCR product analysis area. This room is for product detection equipment, that is gel electrophoresis tanks, power packs, UV trans illuminator, the gel documentation system. This area should have a separate sets of gloves, lab coats, plates, and tube racks, pipettes, filter tubes, beans, and other equipment. No other reagents can be brought into this area excluding loading dye, molecular marker, and agar-rose gel and buffer components. This sample workspace should be clean in the same way as the master mix space. Points to be remembered here are: ideally the pre-PCR rooms should not be entered on the same day if work has already been performed in the post-PCR rooms. If this is completely unavoidable, ensure that hands are first washed thoroughly and that specific lab coats are worn in the rooms. Lab books and paperwork must not be taken into the pre-PCR rooms if they have been used in the post-PCR rooms. If necessary, take duplicate printouts of procedures, sample IDs, etc. Now we will see general molecular biological advices. Use powder gloves to avoid assay inhibition. Correct pipetting technique is a paramount to reduce contaminations. Incorrect pipetting can result in splashing when dispensing liquids, and that can create aerosol. Centrifuge tubes before opening and open them carefully to avoid splashing. Close tubes immediately after use to avoid the introduction of contaminant. When performing multiple reactions, prepare one master mix containing common reagent, example water, DNTPs, buffers, primers, and enzymes, to minimize the number of reagent transfers and reduce the threat of contamination. It is recommended to set up the master mix on ice or a cold block. Use of hot starts enzyme may help to reduce the production of non-specific products. Protects reagents containing fluorescent probes from light in order to avoid degradation. Now we will see about internal controls. Include well characterized confirm positive and confirm negative controls, along with a no template control in all reactions and a multi-point titrated trend line for quantitative reactions. The positive control should not be so strong that it possesses a contamination risk. Include positive and negative extraction controls when performing nucleic acid extraction. It is recommended that clear instruction be posted in each of the areas so that users are aware of rules of conduct. Diagnostic labs detecting very low levels of DNA or RNA in clinical samples may want to adopt the additional security measures of having separate air handling system with slightly positive air pressure in the pre-PCR rooms and slightly negative air pressure in the post-PCR rooms. Lastly, developing a quality assurance plan is a helpful process. Such a plan should include list of reagent, master mix, working stocks, rules for storing kits, reagents, reporting of control result, staff training program, troubleshooting algorithm, and remedial actions when needed. So friends, in this video I have included the best practices for making a good molecular laboratory. Here I will recommend to follow these minimum safety measures and precautions to make a standard molecular biology laboratory. I also advises laboratory people to make their customized plan and schedule for maintaining the good laboratory practices. You can call me or take any advices whenever required from my side. Thank you.